Good morning, welcome, 1,000 welcomes, and we're here on a rainy day, and it's amazing to be here. So for anyone who's zooming in or joining from across the country, super rainy and gray, and yet there's so much love and brightness and inner sunshine among those who are here meditating. And so thank you for being that love and that presence and that brightness and that inner sunshine. It is a joy to be with you all and to be with everyone, wherever we are gathering together in the light. We have the joy of meditating today on the subject of equipoise. And this is part of our focus on how to navigate change. And so I'm remembering something that Swami Nityananda, who was the wonderful, magnificent founder of our meditation community, said. And he said this with some sharpness, with joy and with love, but also with some asperity, some spiritual sharpness. He said, why is it that humans have the pertinacious tendency to believe that change is negative? Why? That's a direct quote. Okay, now I'm back to speaking in my voice. And so we're inviting ourselves to play with the possibility that change can be surprisingly easy and fun instead of tormenting. And so that's the kind of the invitation, the spiritual gift of that question. He's saying basically we don't have to assume that change is negative. We can instead, if change is facing us as change is, because if we're in time and space, change will be here. If change is facing us in time and space, we can instead play with something like, I give myself permission for this to be surprisingly easy and fun, and allow ourselves to align with what is surprisingly easy and fun. And then just kind of notice your own relationship to something in your life where change is arising, where there might have been struggle or stress or pain or fear or some judgment involved. And notice what happens if you say something like, what if the highest good is being done? Notice how your relationship immediately shifts to what has been a source of stress and strain. What if the highest good is being done? And what if I may, in this moment, right now, align with the highest good? And what if this can be surprisingly peaceful? And what if I can connect with the energy of joy within myself so that the highest good may unfold? And just notice how all of a sudden strain sort of melts away. You might even feel like your shoulders kind of relax. Those little lovely muscles at the back of the neck can kind of soften and ease. And you can even stand more steadily right now, right here. Sit more steadily in time and space, wherever you are. And so that's what we're giving ourselves the gift of enjoying, is the confidence, the faith, the trust that the highest good is always being done. And that we, as we focus our attention in the present moment, and I want to be really clear about this, each of us has the potential of being dragged kicking and screaming into change. We've all tried it that way. How much fun is that? Change happens, and we can kick and scream about it. Or we can say to ourselves, I focus my attention in the present moment. And notice what happens as soon as you do that. You connect with a pivot point in consciousness, in energy, in possibility. I focus my attention in the present moment, and I decide, what is it I want to energize right now? What would I like to help create? What solution would I like to help make visible in time and space? And that will flow forth. Each of us, as we choose, moment to moment to moment. And I'm reminding myself and everyone else, there's a beautiful Zen teaching from Japan, which says, snap your fingers. Every time you snap your fingers, there's 65 moments. 6.4 billion moments every day. And every finger snap, 65 possible opportunities to wake up, to choose, to focus our attention in the present moment and to say, what would I like to create? What would I like to be part of? So again, we're letting go of resistance. We're letting go of this sort of, I'm going to let myself be dragged kicking and screaming into this new whatever it is that we're entering into. And we're letting all of that go, and we're just saying, I have 65 opportunities right now to focus my attention in the present moment, and I choose, what would I love to be part of? What would I love to help create? Kashi mentioned the promised land. What promised land would I like to help make visible? And so every time we fill our energy, we fill our hearts, our own awareness with that energy of the promised land, just do it right now. I fill my heart with the energy of the land of milk and honey. I fill my heart with the energy of that place where, I'm quoting Isaiah, the wolf lives with the lamb. Wherever it is that where there has been struggle and rivalry and fierceness and fighting, peace is made there. I fill my heart with that. And then I invite that energy to actually speak through me right where I am, in my family, in my neighborhood, in my organization, at my workplace, on the bus, in the train. And sometimes the speaking is silent. So sometimes it's the very presence of our choosing in silence in that meeting where there is obstreperousness. We just choose to align ourselves with the energy of peace and possibility and hopefulness and kindness and helpfulness, and that radiates through us into the room. So Thich Nhat Hanh says it only takes one calm person on the boat to save the boat from being capsized in a storm. So that can be your invitation for this day, for this week. How can I be the calmest person on the boat? Whichever boat I find myself in. It might be the boat of your body. It might be the boat of your own emotions. It might be the boat of your mind. How can I be the calmest person on the boat? And noticing as we do that energy of calm and balance and freedom is instantly here with us. Always available, it's present within us, and then we're aligned with it, and it can come forth in a new way in time and space. So I'm going to start to share with us a couple of scriptures and a couple of true stories about ways that this may happen, and in measurable ways. So one of the things that the Bhagavad Gita says, I'll just kind of read these two verses. This is from chapter 4. The basic teaching here is that we are free even amidst the pairs of opposites. Each of us is free no matter what we are experiencing in time and space. That's this basic teaching. Content with whatever comes after one has made right effort. And so after every single clause, we could just do a little check-in. This last week, did I make right effort? Did I allow myself to be content with whatever arose after I made right effort? Unaffected by the pairs of opposites, how did I do this last week? So this is telling us the pairs of opposites are going to be there. In time and space, there's going to be victory and defeat. There's going to be loss and gain. There is going to be pleasure and pain. Did I allow myself to be unaffected? So I remained the energy of equipoise and balance and steadiness and kindness and peace and possibility, even while the pairs of opposites were doing their dance in time and space. Sometimes the pairs of opposites do their dance in our body or our heart or our mind or our lives. Each of us can choose to be steady even while the pairs of opposites are playing out in time and space. Free from envy. Did I allow myself this last week to be free from envy? Another way to say that, did I compare myself to anyone this last week? And if so, how may I, instead of comparing myself to someone, emulate what I love in those whom I admire and forgive myself of any struggle in relation to anything that I seem to see as a problem in another. Notice how freedom instantly arises as we go through these choices. Serene amidst success and failure. So looking back over the last week, what did you consider your successes? What did you consider your failures? Did you manage to be serene, even in the midst of those successes and failures? And notice it's saying, even in the midst of success, it's important to be serene. Sort of wearing it lightly, knowing that sometimes success arises in time and space, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes failure arises in time and space, and sometimes it doesn't. And the light in us is always serene. So we're just allowing ourselves to connect with that and be that. Though engaged in actions, one never becomes bound by them. So if we have this understanding, we act in freedom. We act in joy. And so turn that around and just ask, how would it be if I gave myself permission to act in freedom and in joy? We all know those things that are on our to-do list, and some of them are really fun, and some of them we're sort of like, oh, really? I have to take care of that this week? Just play with it. What if the energy of freedom and joy takes care of that through me? Notice what happens. Your relationship shifts. And all of a sudden, the strain is gone, and the energy of pure light, the energy of the whole universe is able to share through you. And that's the energy that accomplishes all the missions, all the tasks, all the work of our life. And so we don't have to feel as if we only have a finite amount of energy or time or resources or kindness or caring. We're inviting ourselves to open and to allow all the energy, all the resources, all the kindness, all the caring, all the wisdom, all the courage, all the strength in the universe to pour through us and to take care of whatever the tasks are. And we're always, no matter who we are and no matter what role we're playing, we're just assisting that beautiful and perfect energy that brings the whole universe into being. And notice when we have that understanding, all of a sudden things are light. And they're easy and they're beautiful. And everywhere that we are in this moment right now, we're simply noticing the beautiful and perfect energy that brings the whole universe into being, that's fully here with me and within me. And then it's like we get to dance, whatever it is that we're moving through. So the next verse is talking about the same thing. And the phrase that I will give us is, it says, we are liberated in the higher perspective of life's dual facts. And we're invited to be inspired by the ideal of universal good. So anywhere that we have felt ourselves to be bound by the pairs of opposites, struggling in relation to victory and defeat, or gain or loss, or pleasure or pain, it's saying find a higher perspective. So expand perspective, give yourself permission to take a step back. Another thing that you can do is visualize that you're going to a mountaintop and you're looking down and you're just gaining perspective and you're understanding the play of the opposites. It's part of moving in time and space. And we can be the energy of liberation, even while the pairs of opposites are moving through time and space. And this is what Isaiah talks about. The wolf will live with the lamb. The leopard will lie down with the goat. The calf and the lion and the yearling together. And where this happens first is within us. So within ourselves, how can I invite the wolf to live with the lamb? Within myself. How can I invite the wolf to live with the lamb? Within myself, how can I invite the leopard to lie down with the goat? Within myself, how can I invite the calf, the lion, and the yearling to live together? And when we have made peace with ourselves, then that will flow forth, and we'll be aligned with that peace. And so naturally, peace will be silently present through us, but also it will be present. The words that we find ourselves speaking, the tone, the energy, the vibration, the frequency of our words will be this energy that helps make peace, because there is no struggle in us. And that's that energy of victory of soul that knows no opposite. There's only the one that is sharing with us, through us, as us. And that energy of the one is able to greet the energy of the one in all. The energy of the one is already present. It's already everywhere. And so we're able then to connect with it and to invite it to share more visibly in time and space. So we have the choice always. I choose in this moment. I focus and direct my attention, my energy on what I love, on what I would love to help create, on what I would love to help be part of. And every time we choose that energy of peace and harmony and possibility, we make that possibility more available to others to choose as well. We're never able to impose it on another. There's no manipulation involved in this. You're never doing this so that you get something from another. But you open the doorway for everyone who resonates with that energy of what is kind and fine and high and wise. If this is the energy of pure love. It is the energy that gets called the energy of miracles. And it's simply our natural beingness. It is with us always. The energy of miracles is with us always. We're never separate from it for even one moment. So I'm going to share a couple of true stories. And I'm inviting, as I tell these stories, I'm inviting us to line up and just feel the stories within ourselves and allow them to help liberate within ourselves anywhere that we have not been feeling that energy of equipoise, that energy of freedom, that energy of harmony, that joyful embrace of the waves of change in time and space. So the first thing that crossed my path this week that I thought might bring a smile to your face is a study that was conducted in a hospital, and it was a double-blind study on the effects of prayer, on the healing effects of prayer. So this was conducted in a hospital, and the patients didn't know which patients were being prayed for. The doctors didn't know which patients were being prayed for. And it was measurable that the patients who had been prayed for had markedly better outcomes clinically. So the first thing that the study verified, we all know this because we all pray, chances are, and you can feel the way that it creates a shift. It creates positive pathways forward. Prayer has healing effects. You don't have to know the person. You can offer prayers, and that person will receive positive healing effects. And that was the first thing that this double-blind study noticed and revealed. The second thing that this double-blind study noticed was that non-specific prayers work as well or better than specific prayers. And so I'm just inviting us to focus on this for a second. What that means, I'm going to give a really concrete example. So say that you know someone who's having an operation, and you might have like a very specific prayer request, like, let the anesthesiologist be amazing and so kind and so attentive, whatever your request is that you would offer for that particular person, might even be yourself. That does have a positive effect. It does have a positive outcome. But even more effective is saying something non-specific like, thy will be done. Isn't that amazing? So I'm going to invite us right now to practice, to close our eyes and to feel the difference. And so choose one thing. It might be something you've been praying about recently. And just notice, how have I been praying? Have I been praying with a specific request? Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. The specific request also has positive effects and a positive outcome. But I'm going to invite us to notice the difference. And so whatever it is that you're choosing to pray about, first, silently, just offer a specific request in relation to that, where you are directing the pure energy of prayer. Beautiful. Thank you for your prayers. And now notice in your body where your attention is drawn after offering that specific prayer request. And notice wherever your attention is drawn, just what do you notice about how you feel in that area where your attention is drawn? Okay, and so now, with reference to the same prayer, offer a non-specific request. And so two that come to me immediately, one is simply you're holding in the light that situation, that person, that where you have been sending prayer energy and attention, and you're saying, thy will be done. Another way to say it is, the highest good is being done. And so offer the prayer in that way. Thank you for your beautiful prayers. And now notice in your body, where is your attention drawn? And how does the energy feel where your attention is drawn? And so I invite you to play with this later. For the sake of time, I'm just going to point out energetically, I'm going to give us a visual. Don't attach too much to the visual. Don't take it too literally, but it's helping understand why the two prayer requests feel different and why the second type of prayer request has even more effective outcomes in these double-blind studies. If we're asking for a prayer to be fulfilled in a particular way, it's as if we have like one receptor open to the universe. And the universe wants to deliver pure light and pure love to us, and we're giving one open receptor. We're saying, please, like fill this open receptor. I'm opening this receptor. If you're listening to this, my hands are open, sort of like the wings of a dove or like a flower that's blooming, but it's a single open receptor. And so the universe is going to have to align things in a particular set of configurations and ways to fill that open receptor that we have. But if you are offering the highest good is being done, all of a sudden you have 100,000 open receptors. And I'm so excited about this. It's almost unbelievable how exciting this is. So notice what happens, how that feels to have 100,000 open receptors. Notice how that feels. And then notice, like right now, there's no delay. The light is already filling the 100,000 open receptors. You're already in the energy of the solution. There's no waiting. And so right now, you're walking around, like the energy of the solution might not be there yet, like knocking on your door, but you're in the energy of the solution. And the energy of the solution can come to you in 100 different ways everywhere that you go throughout the day. Whereas if you've got the one open receptor, and I'm back with my hands together, and it's like the single wings of the dove that are open, things have to line up in a particular configuration in time and space. And so unintentionally, we're limiting the workings of grace. It's completely unintentional. And it still has positive effects to pray with a specific request. But we're saying, but I only want light to come to this one receptor because that's the only way in which I'll know that my prayer has been answered. And so here's another way to pray, if you like to play with this way, because I think humanly, it's kind of almost impossible not to have specific requests. Make your specific request and then say, and I trust the highest good is being done, and I am open to the universe fulfilling my request in 100,000 amazing ways that I can't even imagine or anticipate. And so let's just play with that. So offer your specific prayer request silently, and then silently say, and I know the highest good is being done, and I know the universe can deliver the answer to this prayer in 100,000 ways that are amazing and beautiful and that can greet me throughout the day. And I am open to noticing the ways in which light and kindness and the energy that is so beautiful and so perfect and is here right now is supporting me and meeting me and greeting me, no delay, right now in 65 ways in this moment. And so just notice how that feels. Notice in your body, where is your attention drawn? And how does the energy feel? So I'm sort of whooping with joy silently. I have one more story to share, and I'd like to share it quickly. I invite you to please feast upon these ways of working directly with the substance of all forms. So I just want to be very, very, very clear. What we just connected with was working directly with the substance of all forms. Working with that which pours this whole universe into visible expression. Each of us is directly connected with it always. And we're just remembering that and allowing that energy of love, that energy of miracles to flow through us. It's here always. It's the energy of healing and creativity and joy and generosity and gladness. It's completely open-hearted. So this is a true story, and it's a story told by a doctor on himself. And so the doctor ends up looking not super smart in the story. So I'm just going to tell you that in anticipation. And don't judge him, because he's looking back on himself and sort of realizing, oh, I didn't understand this at the time that this happened. And so he had a friend who was a gas station owner. And the two of them used to get together once a week. And their favorite thing to do would be to complain. And so they might watch a ball game or two, but really what they were doing was complaining. And then one day, the doctor showed up, ready to complain, and his friend was completely cheerful, completely smiling, completely not entering in to complaining anymore. And the doctor was like, what's wrong with you? Like, I lost my partner in complaint. Like, we can't sit here and talk about everything that's wrong with everything. And the gas station owner was like, just kind of not feeling that right now. And so time passed, and the gas station owner stayed cheerful and kind and calm. And all of a sudden, people started flocking to the gas station. So people would line up to get gas at this gas station. And the doctor's like watching this, and he's like, there's no gas shortage. This is just because they like this person who's choosing to be kind and who's choosing to be cheerful. And the doctor asked his friend, what happened? And his friend said, I went to my brother's funeral. And I was at my brother's funeral, and I had heard this before, but I had never really heard it. He said, the person who gave the service for my brother said, you only get out of life what you put into it. And for some reason, at his brother's funeral, he just woke up and he said, oh, so you mean if I want to be in a world I want to be in, that means I get to focus on what I like and what I care about and what I would like to be part of and what I would like to help create. And so that's what he did. And his life changed. His business changed too, in the way that I already mentioned, that customers started lining up, not because they necessarily needed gas, but because the energy of kindness is magnetic. The energy of cheerfulness is the same energy that attracts the whole universe. And it's the energy that's right within us. We're always, always invited to connect with that energy. And the doctor said he realized that he himself was wrestling with himself. He was like, there wasn't really anything wrong with the world. Wasn't really anything wrong with my friend. I was just wrestling with myself at that point. I wasn't able to make peace within myself at that point in order that I could be in that energy of kindness in order that I could be in that energy of cheerfulness. And so I'm inviting ourselves to close our eyes and to just choose, as we're ready, as we are inspired. For the man in the story, it came at his brother's funeral. So it came at a very open-hearted moment. We're invited to open our heart and to turn and face ourselves and to see how we are in our hearts, to let ourselves feel what we feel in our heart. And we're invited to say to ourselves, I make peace with you, self. I choose to make peace with you. I choose in myself to let the wolf and the lamb lie down together. I choose to be kind and wise and faithful and steady within myself. I choose to remember two things that young people, breathtakingly wise young people, said to me this week. One, it takes too much energy to hate anyone. So for ourselves, I give myself permission to remember it takes too much energy to hate anyone. And then another young person said, if we are rejected, it's a stepping stone to something better. And so anywhere within ourselves where we have felt rejected, where we have felt fault or failure or blame or shame, turn to ourselves open-hearted and silently say, I give myself permission to see that all of this in time and space, all of the pairs of opposites, it's a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone to what I love. It's a stepping stone to what is real. It's a stepping stone to the energy of wholeness. It's a stepping stone to the energy of creativity, the energy of immortality, the energy of gladness. It's a stepping stone to wholeness, to happiness, to health, to well-being, to abundance, to the energy of caring and connection and community and kindness and friendship and pure-hearted affection. Thank God that each of us is that eternally and in embodiment. God bless us all.